Hi, everyone, and welcome, BBB Accredited Businesses. We're glad you're here as we're about to embark on a chilling journey into the dark depths of marketing misadventures. I'm David Quinlan, the Vice President of Marketing at Better Business Bureau, serving the heart of Texas, and I'm thrilled to be your guide through this eerie tales that await us today. So, are you ready to unearth the spine-tingling marketing blunders that can haunt small business owners? Well, if so, you come to the right place. Just in time for Halloween, we've gathered some hair-raising marketing horror stories that will make your skin crawl. But don't worry, we're not here to just scare you. We're here to illuminate the path forward for better marketing when it comes to your business. On our guide through this haunted house of marketing mayhem is none other than our expert digital marketing guest, Satita Yang with Fast Market. Satita runs a digital marketing agency in Denver, Colorado. She had a decade of experience under her belt. She turned her side hustle agency into a six-figure powerhouse before running it full time. So we're lucky to have Satita, as she will help us decipher these chilling tales and show us how to banish the marketing monsters that lurk in the shadows. So grab your flashlights, tighten your seatbelts, and prepare to learn from the darkest marketing mistakes as we explore marketing horror stories, what to avoid. And together, we'll uncover the secrets of marketing success that will leave you more enchanted than haunted. All right, with that being said, let's start. Not all attention is beneficial. Research before you take the leap. While publicity and visibility are vital for brands, not every form of attention can benefit a brand. Understanding the nuances, especially in the fast-paced world of digital marketing, is crucial. So here is a great example of a well-known brand doing something that you should not do. They did not understand a specific hashtag when posting this. And as you can see from the DiGiorno pizza hashtag right here, they had to actually put out an apology because they did not understand the hashtag before posting. So really understanding trends and hashtags before participating is crucial when marketing your business, your product, or whatever it is on social media. Even though you might be trying to be clever with it or doing a play on words, understanding those hashtags is critical before publishing. And with that in mind, here's a great example of what you should do. Benefits of research and due diligence can pay off. So here you have an example of Nike's Just Do It campaign with Colin Kaepernick. It was polarizing, but was a research risk that ultimately drove strong engagement and sales for the brand. So you can see the ad there, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. That Nike commercial, their Nike advertisement, again, paid off because they did their research and they did their due diligence. This is a great example of what you should do.
And yeah, just to echo what you were saying, David, the key takeaways here is that you have to know your audience. When you know your audience, you can contextually insert specific trends, hashtags, and messaging that is going to resonate with them, and ensuring that you don't offend the mass public while you're doing that as well. Next up is you need to make sure you have clear objectives. Having clear objectives gives you a head start such that you are executing with a goal in mind and you're understanding the why behind that execution. And of course, doing your research. We can't emphasize this enough because the more research you do, the more you're going to actually be ready once you begin executing to ensure that the sentiment you're trying to push out there, what is it going to serve, and the objective that you're trying to yield. And lastly, you want to continually test and optimize, especially if you start to execute a specific campaign that does work really well and does drive a lot of engagement as well as sales, so that you can continue testing as much as you can and also continue pushing growth.
Great takeaways. All right. So this next topic, definitely scary because I know a lot of businesses ask this question. We at Better Business Bureau deal with this on a daily basis. Is email marketing dead? So many people believe that with the rise of social media, messaging apps, and other communication platforms, email marketing is no longer effective. But the fact is, that's not true. For every $1 spent on email marketing in 2022, brands saw an average ROI of $44. That's a huge return on investment. Targeted emails generated 58% of all email revenue. So a lot of money to be made if it's done correctly. So when it comes to email marketing, I think the question is why email isn't working for you. No segmentation, no personalization, transactional or value-based, no A/B testing, not having a clear call to action. These are all things that you have to consider when working or when deploying an email marketing campaign. It's not just about putting text in an email and hitting send. You really have to understand your target audience, what that message needs to be. And again, are you communicating value over transactions? And A/B testing. There's a lot of room for testing out different messaging, different copy, different creative, so that you can see what really resonates with your audience. And really having a clear call to action. We always try to have one call to action with our email marketing. That way it makes it easier for the recipient to understand what it is that they're supposed to take away from that message.
Perfect. And I think when it comes to the key takeaways, you'll see a recurring theme that contextual relevance, understanding your audience is going to be something that we iterate over and over again throughout this webinar. You have to understand the value that you bring and how you're going to position it and message it to the people that buy from you. And it's not just about getting new customers, but it's about retaining existing customers too. The more that you're able to understand the people who are buying from you and actually paying for your product or services, the higher of a chance you'll actually have of getting more referrals. And that in turn can actually decrease the amount of money that you might be putting towards things like advertising. Or it could also help you better optimize your efforts as you move forward, because you'll have the ability to understand what works and what doesn't work and where you need to make improvements.
And let me follow up with that, Satita. For audience behavior, if you're a small business owner, are there easy tools for you to really use and understand so that you have a better pulse on what your audience, who your target audience is and what their behavior is?
Absolutely. I think, one of the easiest tools to go to is something like a Google Analytics, but specific to email, you have to understand and look inside the actual tool that you're using. So it could be, anything from a HubSpot to a MailChimp. Any of those tools will provide you some insight to understanding what it is that your audience gravitate towards, what they engage with, and how you can modify your copy, your creatives, your call to actions to help serve them and personalize the experience so that they're more likely to continue purchasing from you.
I know I've had some horror story emails. I won't name brands, but I've gotten some emails from brands that I've followed, and you're left scratching your head sometimes on what they send over email. It almost looks like spam. So again, building value, understanding your audience, and having that contextual relevance critical when sending messages to your audience. Well, let's talk a little bit about a path to influence. So debunking the notion that sheer follower count, irrespective of engagement quality, is the direct indication of influence or success on social media platforms. Many brands and influencers believe that just having a high number of followers translates to increased influence and authenticity. So let's take a look at this example. So in 2019, the popular brand Calvin Klein faced backlash for its influencer partnership with an influencer who, despite having millions of followers, showed very minimal engagement. Critics were very quick to point out that a good chunk of these followers were potentially ghost accounts or bots. So buying followers or gaining them artificially can really inflate the number of ghost followers. And ghost followers are bots or fake followers, not actual people. Accounts that don't engage might be automated by bots. So this is a good example of why buying followers just doesn't work. It's not authentic. Now, brands like Gymshark, this is again an example of what you should be doing. Brands like Gymshark have successfully collaborated with micro influencers who Despite having fewer followers, showcase high engagement rates. Their campaigns underscore the reality that it's better to have 10,000 engaged followers than a million indifferent ones.
And just to add on to that as well, David, I think one of the things to look at too is that I think from a holistic societal standpoint, we sort of look at vanity metrics such as followers and the amount of just likes and things like that. Like they're incredibly crucial to your overall business objectives and what you're trying to achieve. But I would actually caution a lot of businesses to look at quality over quantity, and the importance of just realizing that as you're building a genuine influence, it's not just about the immediate gains or sheer numbers. It's a journey that requires authentic engagement, trust building, consistent delivery of value, and adapting to the needs of your audience and how they evolve. So true influence resonates and it'll stick with you and your brand over time if you do it right.
I remember how excited I got when I hit more than 1,000 followers on Twitter years ago, and I haven't posted on Twitter for a while now. But again, I was tempted to buy followers just to get my own personal brand out there. I'm glad I didn't. You mentioned, Satita, quality over quantity. I think a lot of small business owners, they get stuck on like, I should be posting every day, or I should be posting several times a day, and then they just get in the habit of posting junk. Can you talk a little bit more about why quality over quantity plays a critical part in a pathway forward?
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of goes in line with, let's say you run a local business and you only serve a specific region. When you interact with one customer, imagine if instead of just interfacing one-on-one with that one customer, you ended up having 15 other customers show up at this person's house to talk to them, right? So let's just say you're a contractor and you're trying to remodel their kitchen, but instead of talking to that one person, you decide, I'm just going to invite anybody and everybody over to sit around in their kitchen while I talk to this one person about their kitchen renovations. That's not going to be effective, and it's probably not going to be welcomed at all. So quality is important such that are you creating meaningful connections and relationships with the people who buy from you? Because if you're able to do that, your ability to then proliferate those efforts into, your digital marketing initiatives is going to be a lot easier, and it's going to come across much more trustworthy and credible than if you were to try to buy a bunch of followers or just get into the game of running your digital marketing campaigns to get likes and to get shares, but then in all reality, your sales suffering.
Love it. Love it. All right. How about intuition over information? There's a belief out there that, especially among some old school marketers, that years of experience and gut feelings are enough to make impactful marketing decisions. So using an example, a company choosing to place ads in a magazine based purely on the CEO's belief that everyone reads that magazine without considering actual demographics and engagement data. A 2020 McKinsey report highlighting that companies that are data-driven are 23 times more likely to acquire customers. So let's take the example of Yahoo. Yahoo's decline in the late 2000s is partially attributed to its leaders making big decisions based on intuition rather than data, while competitors like Google thrived using data-centric approaches. So let's take Netflix. Netflix has a goldmine of user data from what people watch. When they watch, how often they pause or stop watching, and what they binge on. Before committing to House of Cards, Netflix analyzed this viewer data. Instead of starting with a pilot episode, as its traditional Netflix confidentiality committed to 2 seasons, which was 26 episodes of House of Cards, right off the bat. This decision was grounded in data-driven confidence that the series would be well received. What was the outcome? Well, this bold move paid off as House of Cards quickly became one of the platform's most watched series and garnered multiple awards. Netflix didn't just use data to decide whether to produce House of Cards. They also utilized it to tailor the marketing. By analyzing viewer preferences, Netflix created multiple trailers targeting different audience segments based on their viewing habits.
And I love that last slide, David, because it just talks and positions the importance of when you have that much data or any sort of collective data that can help you make better decisions for your business, you have to leverage it. So I do think that, something we want to take note of too is we're not trying to take away from um, the the power of intuition, right? Intuition combined with information provides a holistic approach to decision making. So there's that human insight and also the empirical evidence that should always be considered. And as you collect data over time, you'll have the ability to figure out different ways that you can execute. So just as the example that we provided with Netflix, what they ended up doing was leveraging their data points to tailor their marketing campaigns specific to different segments. So there's a sense of personalization, which is the point that we touched on around email too, is when you're able to personalize and provide succinct copy, creatives, as well as any sort of call to actions to the people you're targeting, the likelihood of converting them is going to be so much higher than if you were to send a generic campaign, a generic email, or a piece of marketing collateral.
Yeah, I think having that sweet mix between intuition and data, your gut's very important. Absolutely leverage that, but also using data to make those types of decisions definitely helps. And it keeps you relevant. And I'm also noticing, Satita, a common theme here, really understanding your audience, which again, in that last example that you shared with Netflix, a great way of them using data and understanding their audience based off of those different trailers. All right, moving on. Content just about blogging. That's a good question. There are many forms of content, and through blogging, and though blogging is important, there are a multitude of content types that you need to test out. The Content Marketing Institute's 2021 report shows that while 89% of B2B marketers use blog posts in their content marketing strategy, a significant number also utilized videos, 72%, infographics, 48%, and podcasts, 41%. So, gosh, remember this brand, Blockbuster? This is a good example of what not to do. Blockbuster, which relied heavily on its brick and mortar stores and failed to adapt quickly to the online streaming trend, eventually leading to its decline. Talk about a slow death. Here's a brand that did it well and continues to do it effectively. This is Red Bull. Red Bull, which extends its content marketing beyond just articles to videos, music, podcasts, and events, has really done a good job of solidifying its image and brand as more than just an energy drink to its customers. So this is a great example of effective content marketing and really understanding where your audience spends its time and then delivering value in diverse formats.
Right. And to piggyback off of that last point, David, diversifying your platforms is so important because the realm of content has evolved far beyond just blogging. And I think we all know that, but you have to embrace these different formats. And doing so will create a more holistic content strategy that drives more engagement for your brand. And that engagement ultimately you want to turn into sales. So, some of the key points to kind of take away here is that your content it can be interactive. It doesn't need to just be stagnant, right? So interactive meaning you can use quizzes, surveys, and interactive infographics, which you mentioned. There is a storytelling aspect to it too. Harness the power of visual storytelling utilizing platforms like Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, and also play with long form and short form content as well. You have to recognize the value of both in-depth articles and also bite-sized content snippets that just sort of tease people to then want to take advantage of all the other content assets that you have.
That's a great example because we do this at Better Business Bureau, trying to create content so that it's evergreen and that we can constantly repurpose it, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time, especially when it comes to a lot of seasonal activities. We're running videos that we produced a year ago, but they're still relevant today. And again, it helps build credibility and builds trust, and we understand our audience, so we're able to do that by keeping the content evergreen.
Yeah, just quickly to add on to that too, David, I think it's also really important for businesses to recognize that just because you create one piece of content, you shouldn't just let it expire or let it sit there. You can take that one piece of content, and if it has incurred a lot of good engagement, turn it into different assets, from a video all the way through to, an infographic, even multiple tweets as well. Threads is a part of the mix now too, and Instagram stories. So you can repurpose one piece of content into multiple pieces of content so that you consistently expand the life cycle of what it is you're creating.
Keep it simple. I love it. All right, it's time for a reality check. Now, be honest. Has your business, or have you fallen trapped to some of these marketing horror stories? I know that we've made some mistakes in the past. Certainly, misconceptions persist. I think a good example: print is dead. That whole myth. Yet niche magazines find a way to thrive. Dangers of dismissal. Blockbuster overlooked online streaming, and that led to its decline. Assesses beliefs versus data. VR's predicted rapid adoption versus its more gradual uptake. And then staying grounded, use feedback loops and trends analysis. Look at Toyota's approach. And then finally, action. Regularly and consistently challenging prevailing beliefs that with real world data to help you make more informed decisions.
Yeah, and I think, it's also important to realize that as you're navigating the dynamic landscape of digital marketing, it's more than just keeping up with the trends. But the more you understand the problem that you solve and the people that you are servicing, the better it is going to be for you in terms of how you then leverage that information to ensure that you're pushing out the right kind of content, the right kind of campaigns that are going to resonate and push the people who are buying from you to want to engage with you and stay as loyal customers.
So as a BBB accredited business, you have access to a bunch of resources to really help your business cut through the noise and stand out. And some of these resources you may be aware of, some of them you may not be aware of. So we're going to walk you through a few of them today that you'll be able to leverage. And again, really help your business stand out and again, avoid some of these marketing horror stories. We're really excited about our advertising program. We offer a number of different advertising options, including our Google Display and Google Search program. Again, very targeted advertising. It's super affordable and very effective. So this is a big option that I know, Satita, you spend a lot of time in this space. Taking advantage of our Google program can certainly be a differentiator for a small business.
Absolutely. And I think for small businesses, especially during this time of year with the holiday season right around the corner, and also a lot of people really looking at, what does the following year look like for us? This gives a lot of accredited businesses the ability to ensure that they stay top of mind. And, David, you and I have talked a lot about this, is just one of, and it's not a blunder that we actually debunked in this specific webinar, but something we talked about is that oftentimes, local or small businesses tend to start and stop programs because they view the investment that's being put into marketing as an expense versus an investment itself. So this program is positioned to help accredited businesses do just that: invest into your business, stay top of mind for your customers, and effectively have the ability to incur qualified leads and customers who are interested in what it is that you have to offer. And this isn't just a start and stop program, because we're consistently optimizing and ensuring that everything is in alignment in terms of contextual relevance and what it is that the customers are looking for so that the business can thrive.
Awesome. And if you haven't visited our Solutions Hub, our Accredited Business Solutions Hub, which is basically a content hub, please do so. This, again, a free resource for you as a BBB accredited business. You can access this through your online portal. But inside here, you'll find a wealth of content and resources to really help your business be successful. Everything from marketing or finance or sales help, or if you have some questions about your accreditation or how to maximize your BBB assets and upload the seal to your website, or how to respond to a consumer complaint or question. We have plenty, again, free resources through the Solutions Hub. We recommend you bookmark it. That way you can access it at any time. And this is exclusive for BBB accredited businesses.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I really believe in this stuff that you guys have all put in place too, David, because as I always like to say, the tools that you have to take advantage of, they're only as good as the people who use it. So if you don't use it, you're not going to be able to see the value in it. But the more that you use it, you'll find the value. You'll see different nuggets that you can leverage and use towards your business. These are all things that I know that your team tirelessly works towards adding that value to all accredited businesses, ensuring that you're speaking to their pain points and able to provide tips and tricks for whatever it is that they might be dealing with within marketing, sales, finance, whatever have you. Something I do want to take note of too is that we do have I believe there is a checklist, correct, David, that we are putting together specific to some of the stuff we've highlighted in today's webinar, but the Content Hub, the BBB programs, all of that stuff will be packaged up in a single email for all of the people who have watched today's webinar. And you can learn more about it. You can sign up for it and take advantage of it. I would highly encourage every accredited business to do that because you're investing in your growth.
Yeah, it was your 7-step checklist to digital marketing. So again, like Satita said, that'll be included in the email. It's a free benefit for you, and it'll also be uploaded to the AB Solutions Hub or Accredited Business Solutions Hub. So you can always access it there. But it is a great resource for you, especially as we get into the holiday rush. Talk about scary. I can't even believe it's almost December. But that checklist will certainly help your business have an advantage going into the holidays. So how do we do here? I talk about some hair-raising marketing horror stories. Some of those definitely did make my skin crawl, but we're really glad that you embarked on this chilling journey with us. As again, we went into the dark depths of marketing misadventures, but there were some really good takeaways here, Satita. And I'm excited. And sometimes it's really good, and it's good to just have an example of seeing what we're all human. Major brands have made some, major mistakes. So actually going through these examples and looking at it, seeing what you're not supposed to do versus what you should do, at least for me, I found that very helpful.
I would agree, David. I love putting these educational webinars together because they not only provide a foundation for what it is that you shouldn't do, but then we also provide action steps for what can be done to further ensure that small businesses are building the right brands that resonate with their audience, as well as taking that engagement all the way through to eventually growing revenue.
So we want to hear from you. Please, if there's a topic that you'd like for us to cover, if you have some interest in some of our programs and services or advertising, definitely give us a call or send us an email, or you can visit us there in the Solutions Hub or at bbb.org. We have the link on this screen right here, and we'll also include it in the email. But for Satita Yang and myself, David Quinlan, and on behalf of everyone here at Better Business Bureau serving the heart of Texas, happy Halloween. Thanks for listening.